host, Chanel Omari, and we're here at Cubicle Studios in New York City, and I have such a special guest in the building. She's one of my favorite influencers on Instagram right now, over 140,000 followers. She's turned her career from being an amazing publicist to now an influencer. She has an amazing podcast called the Publyssity podcast, which is one of my favorites, and I was just on it. Woo-hoo. She's a lifestyle, fashion, and beauty expert, so if you want any of her tips, follow her on Insta. Please welcome my special guest, Alyssa Amoroso.
Hi everyone. Hi, thank you.
How are you?
I feel like 2 weeks in a row now.
I know. I was just at you, and now you're here. I'm like, I love it. I'm so excited. I'm like, she's amazing. I follow your Instagram. You don't even understand. Like every time I'm upset, every time I'm like in a bad mood, I'm like, let me look at Alyssa's Instagram and feel better.
That's like the nicest thing ever.
Like I love it. So tell us how, like, what's your inspiration behind all, what you decide to post on Instagram and like.
So I really just post what I like, which is wild because you would think so much more thought goes into it than that. And there definitely is a lot of thought and research behind everything because I could see my insights and analytics and what performs well and all of that crazy stuff. But I try to just talk about things that feel right to me, promote products that I actually like and use, and really just, it's like a blog for me. I started a blog when I was in college. This is just an extension of my brand, my blog. And I just really use my Instagram to talk about things that I like.
I love that. And also, like, you also recently have been posting about home decor,
yes,
which is so beautiful and amazing. What goes into that? Like, what's the madness behind it?
I feel like I kind of just post about where I'm at in my life. And right now, I just got into a new apartment a few weeks ago. So I've been taking my followers through the decor process, and I have a lot of partnerships with brands in that space. So it kind of like lit a little fire under my ass to get my content up, or my apartment settled, I should say, on time.
Right.
Because I moved in on November 1st, and contractually I had to post most of the brands that I partnered with on November 15th. So I really had like 2 weeks to get my art hung up, my mattress in place, my furniture looking good. So that's why you've been seeing so much of it. But it's also been like such a passion project of mine to kind of put my design taste into my home versus like just what I'm wearing,
Love that. And also, like, what goes behind like the strategy when you're posting and you're posting on Insta story and you're posting this content? Like, are you like, this is the time I'm going to post it? Like, this is the day of the week I'm going to post? Like, what goes behind that?
I wish I had better insights on time of day. There is something in the Instagram app if you have a business profile that lets you access that information. I've never really found it to be super helpful or accurate, so I kind of just post when I want. And there's also no rhyme or reason. Like, I feel like Instagram wants us to use IGTV and videos, and I just posted 2 videos today, and they've only like 600 people have seen them.
Right.
Whereas I'll put up a still image and I'll get like 50,000 views.
Yeah, I was gonna say thousands.
So I'm just like kind of confused sometimes on what works and what doesn't. But everyone's been asking me for a hair tutorial because I've been wearing this like wavy hairstyle, and I've received so many DMs about this one specific hairstyle. So I finally did a video, spent 2 hours shooting it, editing it, putting it up, and 500 people have seen it. So there's no rhyme or reason. I just try to not let it bog me down that much, because then you could just become obsessed, because it is the way I make my money. So there's a lot of strategy, but then there's also a lot of test and learns, where I just need to like throw stuff out there and see if it performs, and then if it performs, keep on going that way.
That's so smart. Yeah, I feel like sometimes I'm scared to post because I'm like, no, it's not for this day, or it's not the right time. And then I'm thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't have fear. Maybe I should just post, because posting content every day, correct me if I'm wrong, is what got you to all those followers, right? Like it accumulates organic following.
Well, yes, it definitely helps, because when my profile gets discovered, I will get followers from it, whether it be on the explore page or through hashtags, whatever it may be, or people DMing it to people, sending it to people. That will definitely help me get followers. I started like 4 years ago, which is so wild.
Wow. 4 years ago.
I know. Crazy. I'm coming up on 4 years, which is like so wild to me. But I've only been full time, and when I say full time, I mean pursuing my brand full time, not working in corporate, for probably a year and a half.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool and pretty fast. so that means you're very influential because like to hit that fast, I feel like it takes like 3 years. I feel for
Yeah, it would probably
Some
hit
people
around
just-
at 2.5, 3.
Yeah.
When I got 100,000 followers is when I was like, all right, see ya.
You're like, I made it, bitches. I don't give a shit what you say.
It's more just like I think I struck a balance between making enough money where I could support myself and then
Right.
also having enough. I had that like feeling inside where I was like, it's now or never, and I don't want to be one of those people that wakes up in 10 years and is still working in corporate and is like, why did I never take that chance when I had it?
So I felt the same way when I started Chanel in the City, and I
Yes.
feel like I felt like alone in it. But now that you're saying that, makes me feel so much better that like you had that headset too, and that's true because all the great minds, like, and all the successful people that
They take
especially-
chances.
Yeah, all the influencers. I feel like I'm sure the ones you looked up to take chances too.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of other influencers, have there been other influencers that influenced you to start when you started Publyssity?
So when I first started, I loved, and I still love, Mariana Hewitt's account. And I like loved how it's so funny because for 4 years her aesthetic has remained the same. It's like these
Yeah.
beautiful like nude tones, mauve, blush, tan, white, gray, like very monochromatic, very neutral, and I always loved that. So when I first started, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be just like Marianne Hewitt. And then I was like, wait, I can't be like her because I have clothes that have color in it, and I don't have an endless budget at the moment. I'm, working in PR, making no money, and it just wasn't realistic.
Right.
So then I would say she initially inspired me, but then as I got going on my own, I was like, wait, I can't be someone else. I'm not gonna get ahead in this business like trying to be someone else. And when I started just like being myself and found my own way, the way I like to edit my photos with certain filters or certain backgrounds or whatever it may be, is when I feel like things kind of started taking off a little more.
I love that. That's true because I do feel like we come to your page for that unique like filter, like I'm like, oh, that's a really cool like background.
Do
Like,
you wanna know what's funny?
Yeah.
I don't even use a filter anymore, but my
Really?
stuff still looks super cohesive because I'm particular about like where I'm shooting and
yeah, it looks like
Yeah,
all
it's weird,
professional,
right?
high-end. Like I literally feel like I want to be at breakfast at Tiffany's with you in a photo. Like
I
that's
love
how
it.
beautiful it is.
Thank you, that's so sweet. I mean, I used to care even more about how I was curating my photos, but I feel like the era of everything looking super editorial is no longer in. Like for a few years there was like, if you didn't have a prop in your hand, the photo wasn't creative enough. Like people were hot dogs, cell phones, like always like a prop in their hand. And I kind of fell into that trap because I do love the art of a dope photo. But now I'm just like, whatever, here's my cell phone, take a picture of me on the street. I'm more about that real-time content.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's what I love, like making it beautiful but real time.
Yeah, like
That's hard to do.
I try.
You do it
It's easier
small.
because I do it full-time now,
Oh, and-
you know?
Yeah, so that's what I want to talk about too, like full time. You came from public relations,
Yes.
so being a publicist. So first talk to me about this world because I'm fascinated by it. Like, what did you do where you started? Did you start as an assistant? Did you start in just like as a publicist, your own company? Are you still doing it? How did you transition? All of the above.
I was a really, really bad student in high school, like CD student, didn't care, never applied myself. And it wasn't because I wasn't smart, it was because I genuinely didn't care and just was there to like socialize and flirt.
Yeah.
And it was when I went to college, by the grace of God, I got into college, like don't know how, talked my way in, honestly.
What college? Me too.
I went to Sacred Heart University in Connecticut, and I literally, they allowed interviews, and I had this like Italian guy interview me, and I just like hammed it up, and he loved me. And then I stalked admissions, and they literally told me over the phone, they're like, okay, you got it, and stop calling. So I, like true publicist at a young age, like literally talked my way to college
I love that
with
story.
like D's. So somehow I got into school, and like Sacred Heart's like a fine school.
Exactly. Yeah,
And-
I fly there.
And then I wound up doing fine in school because I was well, first of all, my parents threatened me, and they were like, if you get below a 3.0, you're going to community college, and we are not paying for your education because you've never proved to us that you could even study it.
Right.
You know, so with a lot of like threatening and whatever, I went to school, did well because I picked and chose my classes, also was kind of scared. And I started interning. I'm taking you like way back, but I started interning as a sophomore in college. So
Wow.
I worked at a fashion showroom one summer. The next summer, I worked at Elle Magazine, and I was the intern for the assistant to the creative director. So Josie was the creative director at the time. I was the intern for his assistant, and she approached me one day and asked me if I had ever considered being in PR, because she saw some qualities in me and she thought that I would be great in PR. And it turns out her friend was looking for an intern 2 days a week, and I was only interning at Elle 3 days a week. So I interviewed, I got the job, so I had 2 internships that summer. I was 2 days a week doing celebrity PR, 3 days a week doing celebrity styling at Elle. So
That's really dope.
thank you. Always wanted to be in like the entertainment industry,
Yeah.
which is why initially I wanted to go into celebrity styling. Then everything just kind of spiraled from there. I got a celebrity news reporting role at Celeb Buzz one summer, where I was the one actually like writing the gossip columns, which was
Wow.
so fun,
That's
because
so
you
fun.
know I love pop culture.
Yeah, love, yeah.
And then from there, I kind of just decided, okay, I want to be in celebrity PR. So I got hooked up with this woman, Amanda Ruisi. She owns AKR PR. At the time, she was representing Pauly D at like the height of Jersey Shore. So I was interning with Amanda and like literally helping Pauly with whatever, which was like so fun because that show was awesome.
Yeah.
When it
Was he
in its
nice?
height. Oh, the nicest guy.
Oh,
yeah.
that's so cool.
Yeah, I've like been all over with him because when I was in my senior year, when I went on spring break, he was performing in Cancun when I was in Cancun. So I've been with him in Mexico, Atlantic City, like all over the
That's
map.
crazy.
Working, like
That's
keeping
so
it professional. And then when it was time to graduate, I was like, okay, I have had all these internships, like I better get a freaking job. Because you know, the entertainment industry, PR, fashion, isn't like finance where you get a job 4 months before you graduate.
Right.
It's like you get a job when there's something open if you're lucky.
Yeah, and it's like you either have to beg or just have a connection.
Yeah.
It's the hardest thing ever.
So my first job was I was an assistant. I got a job. I graduated on Friday. I started my job on Monday.
Wow.
So like the timing just was like miraculous. And I jumped headfirst into this role as an assistant on the hospitality and events team.
Mhm.
So I was working with a lot of restaurants in New York City, like Sons of Essex, Bounce Sporting Club, different like hospitality groups, and then also doing events.
Oh, wow.
So helping with like Super Bowl, the VMAs, every like red carpet event. I did a Playboy event, just wild things, doing celebrity check-in. And then that job was like actually hell, and I'm gonna write a book one day, and it will be worse than Devil Wears Prada, so it will be in there. And then I just stayed in the celebrity space for a little. I worked my next job at this other agency where I worked with a lot of celebrities, like rappers and athletes.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I love entertainment, but I'm making no money, and I'm getting hotboxed in studios with rappers. This isn't the life for me. So
Wait. I gotta take a minute. Hot box in studios. That's so true. Like for most people, they'd be like, okay, this is. For most people, they'd be like, that's amazing. Let's smoke a doobie. Let's get hot box. And you're like, I cannot take this shit
but
anymore.
not when you have to like show up to work the next day. Like,
Right. Like
the thing with so-called glamorous jobs is
They're
that they're actually not glamorous,
Yeah.
because people would DM me when I first like had Instagram before I was even had an influencer, and they'd be like, oh my god, you're at that party with iced tea and cocoa, and I'd be like, yeah, for 2 minutes I was at the door checking people in all night in 30-degree weather. Like, it's really not so glamorous.
yeah, you're sort of. It's kind of like an Instagram when we're showing like
Yeah.
we're at the BravoCon or this.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like everyone thinks it's so glamorous, but no one knows the bullshit that we had to do to get there.
Exactly.
I
I literally have frostbite
Right.
because I've been standing outside checking people in,
Like,
getting
was
yelled at.
it even worth it
Yeah.
to meet them? Like, yeah, that's
So after like 2-3 years of working in entertainment like that, I was like, I don't think I could do this anymore because I don't see my salary going up, and I don't see like longevity.
Right.
And that's when I switched over to consumer PR. And when I started to work on consumer PR is when we started to pay influencers.
Mhm.
Like just that timing, and I was managing tons of influencer campaigns, and I always had a blog in college, and I always had many blogs all the time, and I was like, why aren't I doing this?
Right.
So I started back up, and Publyssity was born. I think in 2016, I'm pretty sure. And
that's so cool.
I started my brand while I was working in PR, and I worked in PR for 2.5 years while I ran my blog on the side until I had to make the choice.
Was it ever a conflict of interest, like when you were working and
sometimes, and I'm sure they kind of would talk behind my back, being like, she's posting during work.
Mm-hmm.
But it also was a really big advantage for me. Like, I would help us with our business plans where we were hiring influencers, and I would be able to get call favors into friends and have them post for free, or introduce people, make connections, and or give them an influencer perspective. Like, you know, no one's gonna post that. Why don't you try this route? Or Instagram launched this new feature. Why don't you try this feature? So
you're bringing value to you're bringing value to the company in other ways by doing it for yourself.
Yeah. So I think it brought more value than it brought negative attention.
Were you ever scared that when you left corporate that like, oh my God, what if I don't make it? What if this doesn't take off?
Yeah, I still feel that way every day.
You need to.
Well, because like your business is riding on your shoulders, and I feel a little scrappy sometimes. Like I only take jobs that I can do and that I want to do, but sometimes I feel like I take things that are lower than what I deserve to be paid because I don't know when my next paycheck is coming.
Mm-hmm.
But I've kind of been at this place where I live in the moment right now, and I'm like, okay, how do I get through this month? And then how do I get through next month? And it wasn't like that always. Like last year I was doing super, super well where I was like balling on a budget, and this year I'm balling on a budget. Like, not because I even have to be, but because I'm reeling myself in and taking time to be like, if you want to be running your own business, you can't be doing things that other people are doing, or you can't be buying designer bags or doing this or doing that. I don't know how to say this, but a lot of people that I encounter that are full-time influencers have a lot of help from outside people, whether it be a husband, a boyfriend, a family, whatever it may be. Whereas like I'm really doing this all on my own. So sometimes I just have to give myself grace and not compare myself to other people that maybe aren't in my same financial situation.
I love that you're saying this because the audience needs to hear it. I need to hear it because sometimes I'm like, you know, I'm doing this all on my own. It's really hard. Like, I don't know how people do it, but a lot of the influencers that we do know, they do have help, or they have had help from other places.
And don't get me wrong, like my parents have been amazing, and they've helped me throughout the years. Like when I first moved to the city, they contributed to my rent. They had to because I literally was making pennies, and they've helped me, but it's to a point where now I'm 28. It's like I was cut off at what? 23, 20, you know, like I'm like totally on my own now, and I actually am so prideful that I would never even ask my parents really
That's amazing.
for money, because that means I failed.
Right, like you want to know that you made it as an independent woman in New York City, which is like normal, which is like how it should be, you know. No one wants to rely on their parents.
And I, you know, applaud my parents for this mentality because they've always like made me work. Like the second I turned 16, they walked me into a pizzeria in my hometown and said to the person behind the desk, "She just turned 16, are you hiring?" And I started the next day. Like my parents have always made me work, and they don't just hand things to me. I mean, I live a beautiful life, and they do help me a lot, and they've given me so much, but it doesn't come without like a lesson or a price, or I don't know, they've just always really pushed me. My dad's like a tough love type of guy.
Yeah.
Like he'll show me he loves me by like driving me into the city and buying me groceries and doing really nice things. But then if I come home crying over being stressed about money, he's like, "Well, I don't feel bad for you. What are you gonna do to fix it?"
Right, like
tough.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Like I come from that schooling too. It's like my mom was always like, "Well, what are you gonna do if I'm not here? You need to figure it out." And it is true. And that's the scary part of being an entrepreneur, because at least when you're working for corporate, you have that safety net, like, okay, I can figure it out. I have a paycheck coming every week. But yeah, when you're an entrepreneur, you're like, I don't know when my next paycheck is coming from, and I can't spend that money. Do you ever get picky about brands now that you're more successful of like advertising with on Instagram?
Totally. Yeah.
And, like,
I really
podcasts?
only partner with brands that I love.
That's amazing.
I feel like at this point my audience trusts me and knows that if I'm recommending something, it's because I like it.
Right.
And
you're not gonna just bullshit and be like, I want you to try this cream
Yeah.
or talk to this person if I'm not like
Yes.
referring them.
Exactly.
Which is pretty cool that you made such a statement, and it does make sense, the Publyssity podcast, because it comes from a publicity standpoint,
Yeah,
which
now-
is your background.
Do you get now where I love pop culture a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, I did always get it,
Yeah.
but like, yes, even more so that I know your whole
Uh-huh.
entire story, it makes sense. Like,
Totally. I
you've
mean,
been around it your whole life.
and like I grew up reading like the Inquirer. Like my mother would get the Inquirer and
Oh my
read
God.
it, and I would read it, and I would sneak MTV as a child instead of like watching Nickelodeon. I just grew up around pop culture. It is like my number one passion, which is so wild. My ultimate goal and career next step would be to be on air and
Yeah.
do hosting, and you know, I'm trying to build a reel, and I didn't study that in college. I don't know how to read a teleprompter. I'm taking a coaching course. I need to take more, really, but that would be my ultimate next step. It's just sometimes I feel like I can't even focus on it all because I'm trying to run my Instagram. I'm selling merch on the side. I have my podcast, and I'm also doing some consulting work. So I'm just like,
When am I, yeah.
it's like I have to take a deep breath sometimes.
But you can always, what I say is like the podcast is the transition to the on-air stuff. You know what I mean?
Totally.
To the on-air hosting. So
I need
feel
to
like,
record it, like
Yeah.
what you're doing, how you do podcast and video.
yeah, you need to do that.
I know.
Because then that way you can take the reel and you could send it. And also nowadays I feel like people are looking at people who have big Instagram accounts and big influences, and you could literally be sitting here or at your apartment on a camera and being like, hey, I'm your host, like,
Yeah.
bitches pay attention, you know what I'm saying?
Totally,
so that's
totally.
like, that's amazing that you have another goal. Okay, beauty tips. Like we've been talking about
Yes.
beauty skincare. You partnered up with a lot of brands. Talk to us about like which ones you love, and like what are your tips for like a girl on the go who doesn't have the budget to be like,
Totally.
you know.
So I've
Look
learned
beautiful.
so much through getting facials because you know how people like when they get massages and facials just don't talk and they like tune out. I'm asking questions the entire time because I want all of the knowledge. So like, I talk to the people, literally they're probably like, shut up, this is supposed to be relaxing. So I go to this place, Christine Chin. It is my favorite facial place in the entire world. Disclaimer, I do partner with them, so I don't pay. It will cost you around $300. Like it's very expensive. So if you want to do it one time, go pick their brain to get all of the knowledge. Do that, I recommend it, but if not, I'll give you some of the knowledge. So what I've learned from them is that I have like very dehydrated skin. I've always known I have dry skin, but you need to be like masking and exfoliating a lot more. And I kind of always thought masks were like fake. I'm like, this is just a marketing thing. These
Yeah, like
sheet
it doesn't
masks.
work.
Like, yeah, I feel fancy doing it, but it's bullshit. And I'm here to tell you they're not.
They're not.
So what I learned is that I have to be exfoliating like 3 times a week if I want all my dead skin to come off. Because when my skin actually gets congested and gets pimples, it's because my skin is so dry that the bacteria can't break through the dead skin. So it's just laying underneath the dead skin and it's getting like gross under there. So what I get there is a microdermabrasion facial where they actually remove the dead skin.
I've been hearing about this
Yeah.
too. It's like
So you can
trending.
get this anywhere. So you can get, if you really dry skin, you don't have to pay $150 like they charge at this place because I get that plus another treatment, which is why it's $300.
Bougie.
But again, it's free for me, so I'm allowed. But what you could do is get microdermabrasion or dermaplaning, get all your dead skin off, and then make sure that you're just maintaining and really exfoliating like 2 to 3 times a week, depending on your skin. Putting masks in the right area. So if your T-zone is your problem, only target your mask there. Do something with blackheads on your nose if that's where they come. Do a hydrating mask 2 days a week. Just really take care of your skin. Wash it twice a day. And I would say the number one thing that is missing from most people's skincare routine that they don't realize is a toner. So I like to use a hydrating toner 2 times a day in the morning and at night. You could also use it throughout the day. If you're like me and you have dry skin, stay away from anything like witch hazel or anything that's going to dry out your skin. So look for hyaluronic acid, which is really hydrating. Literally, I've learned all of
I'm
this.
like,
through this.
hyaluronic acid, what a big 2 words that I
No,
have to learn.
I'm telling you, I am like a sponge.
But
when I
you
go to
need
these
to,
things.
you need to know, like you're right, you need to have you need to have the knowledge and care enough to be educated on what you're putting on your skin.
Totally.
And sometimes we're lazy, so we have you as an expert, which is great.
Yes. So try to wash your face 2 times a day. If you can't get to it, at least take off your makeup and use a toner and a moisturizer and an eye cream.
Ooh, anything that you recommend specifically?
What am I using at the moment? Let me think. I switch up my skincare kind of a lot. I'm not going to lie. I use my exfoliant is a Kiehl's papaya scrub that I really like. My toner is Rodale. I want to say it's spelled Rodial, I believe it is. What am I using? Oh, I'm using a lot of the brands Naturally Serious. I partner with them, but I genuinely love their products. I use these peel pads that they have, which kind of like tone and exfoliate your face. And then I use their moisturizer, and no, I don't use their eye cream right now. I'm using a SkinCeuticals eye cream. But what I like about Naturally Serious is that they're all clean and natural. And if you go on Sephora's website or in store, they actually have a clean section, which means that any products that are on that clean list have been approved by like tons of scientists, so many people. It's like very, very coveted to be on that list. And any brand that is on that list is like very safe and very good for your skin and doesn't have tons of harsh chemicals. So Naturally Serious is on that list. So really I feel like trusted in using them and partnering with them.
Yeah.
I'm not like a natural freak. Like I use tons of chemicals all the time, but if I could avoid it, why not?
Right. Well, let's on that topic with wellness and lifestyles and health is a big deal. Also, you touch base on that on your Instagram and on your podcast. We spoke about it when I was on your podcast too. Tell us a little bit about, or some tips. Oh, and I've been seeing your cooking, so that's like amazing. That's like another lane of publicity that I'm obsessed with. What inspired you to get healthier? And because you've been, we talked a little bit about like going through some obstacles, and what are the tips for us at home on a budget that we can cook like you, or like prepare meals that are healthy?
So I had a really unhealthy year because we talked about it a little bit on my podcast, but I actually wasn't feeling well for a full year, and I was going through some personal medical things which affected my mental state, I would say. So I had a lot of anxiety, and I was feeling very not myself for about a year. And throughout that time, I put on weight and I had a lot of inflammation in my body. So when I moved apartments, I made a mental switch to be like, this move is a clean slate, and it's now or never. So I started seeing a functional medicine doctor. Her name is Donna James. Her name is actually spelled Dana though, D-A-N-A. She's very well known. If you guys look her up, she's been on tons of podcasts, and she's like highly regarded. I was on a wait list for 3 months, which is like why it took me kind of time to get in. Yeah, but it's worth it because she looked at all my blood work, and she actually saw that there potentially were some issues with my health that were affecting my inflammation and all these other contributing factors. She's a nutritionist, a therapist, and a functional medicine doctor. So she kind of does everything in one.
That's amazing. Yeah, because I was going to ask you, like, did you go to a primary doctor? Because I've been to all the doctors.
I went to every doctor, and yeah, they found
every specialist.
They all found the same thing in my blood work, but none of them had answers. So I was really looking for someone that took a more untraditional approach, and I found that in her.
That's amazing.
And she's put me on a meal plan that is anti-inflammatory, and I've already lost like 7 pounds.
That's amazing.
So,
yeah, you look great.
Thank you. I just want to get to where I was. Like, I'm a curvy girl. I say I have double D boobs. They're probably G's. Like I haven't measured these things in a while, and I'm sure they're big. And and aside from that, like I'm never smaller than a size 4 or 6 at my skinniest. Like that is just who I am. Like no matter what, which I don't mind. Like I'm actually like I'm at my skinniest when I'm a 4. I'm like the skinniest I could ever be. And it looks fine on me because I'm 5'3" and I'm curvy. Now with this new healthy like outlook that I've been having, first of all, I've been feeling better because I switched my environment and I'm not as sick anymore, so a lot of my anxiety is lifted. And then on top of that, I am eating really well. Like I'm starving all the time.
Yeah.
I'm hungry right now.
Me too. It's so bad. I just had McDonald's and I'm starving.
Oh, like I had lettuce, but it's working. So if it's, you know what the thing is, I'm eating right now gluten-free and dairy-free, which is like so extreme. But I might have to be one of the people that lives my life this way because my body potentially doesn't break down those types of food the way other people do.
Right, me too. Yes, and you feel like it's much better to like do you feel like a whole different person when you don't have dairy or gluten?
Honestly, no.
No.
I don't feel any different. I could eat a block of cheese and be fine. I think I'm like less gassy, like I don't burp as much. Like I was like burping a lot randomly and I was even unaware of it. My sister was like, why are you burping? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I don't know I'm doing it. I think little things have changed.
Yeah.
Like this is really TMI, but like I feel like like everything's more regular.
Yeah, like it's a better flow.
Yes.
I get it. I totally. We were saying how we bonded over.
So TMI.
No, are you kidding? I want you to be. That's what the podcast is. But I have we've talked about this. But I go through the same medical issues, and I'm still trying to find out. I'm like, I think it's like GERD. It's like the gastro whatever.
Yes.
And like, do you take the pills? Because I take the pills, but then I feel like they don't help.
I don't know what the hell I'm on. I'm on 15. I take 13 pills a day.
I take
now.
I take 30. I
But mine are
70.
supplements. They're
Oh,
supplements.
okay.
They're
At least
not
they're supplements.
medicines. Yeah. So,
I thought I was going through early menopause the other day, but anyway, besides that, go on.
so I don't know. So yes, I feel better, but I think it's just because I'm losing weight. Like that makes everyone feel better.
Yeah, you
So
feel
I don't know what is
it
happening.
does. Well, I'm sure you're right. The environment, the losing weight, the eating healthier.
The fact that I don't have anxiety right now,
I think
like,
that's
is
been
great.
great.
It's just like all of those things.
Anxiety is so bad. How
Oh
do you
my
cope with
God.
anxiety?
Well, I think my anxiety was triggered by my environment.
You do.
And I'm out of there and it's like lifted. So I think sometimes you have to reevaluate your situation or what's causing it. I also I have really bad health anxiety, which most would call hypochondria.
Yeah, that's health anxiety. No, that's what it is. Yeah, my mom calls it hypochondria, but I think that's a good word, health anxiety.
Like if
So do I. You always
my
worry
dad
about
had a
dying.
heart procedure, and then for 2 months I was like, I'm having a heart attack. And my parents were like, you're 28, calm the fuck down.
Oh, I know. No, I feel the same
No,
way.
I'm a psycho. So I haven't quite learned how to deal with that, but I think I'm getting better because I found a lump behind my ear last week, and
Really?
I'm okay.
But are you okay? Did you get it checked out?
No, but I will, and I think it's just a benign cyst, but we'll see.
Right. No, that's.
Because I've literally gotten MRIs of my brain a year ago. I'm pretty sure I'm okay.
Of course you're okay. Yeah, but I also get that where I have first of all, they found a benign cyst on my liver, and I'm like, how is that not bad? And they're like, you're fine. It's not a bad thing. I'm like, it could turn into cancer, and then I'm gonna die. And they're like, no, you're fine. I'm like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I have gastritis. Now maybe I shouldn't say
Now I
that.
have a cyst on my liver.
Now I have a cyst on my liver. No wonder I'm still single.
No, I'm the same
It's
way.
all these complications that are ridiculous, and then I have to drink 13 pills. It's like I can't even drink on it and enjoy myself.
I honestly think it's more of an anxiety thing, though.
It is.
So it's
That's
just
the
getting
thing. I'm
to
happy you're telling people
root of
this
it.
because it's an anxiety thing, and we don't even realize it. I think I'm always having a heart attack, but it's a panic attack.
100%, and I'm not even that. I'm pretty chill.
Yeah.
So for me to be so anxious
You
last
are
year,
chill. Yeah. I mean, I've hung out with you a couple times now. Yeah.
things don't really bother me. So for me to be so anxious last year, I was like, this isn't right.
Right. Something's wrong.
Something's wrong. And again, I think it was environmental. There was something in my environment that was throwing me off.
Right.
And I know I keep saying that, and that's very ambiguous. So I'll just tell you guys what I'm talking about. But me and my doctor, think that maybe my apartment had some mold in it or something, because there was signs of infection that came up in my blood work, and it just kind of shows that maybe something in my environment was affecting me, which could have caused the inflammation. So that's why I keep saying my apartment, but I just felt that environment, something about it was very unhealthy for me, and I knew it. I could pinpoint when I felt sick, and it was from August to August, and that was the 12 months that I lived in that apartment.
But you know, and you know. If you have a bad feeling about something, of environment, and yes, mold does kill you. It makes you sick. It gives you, God forbid, cancer. It's not good. So the first step is being aware, and the second step is taking it seriously and going and getting it checked out.
Yeah.
And, I love how you gave us education of a functional, what is it?
Functional medicine.
A functional medicine doctor.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have not even known that, but I knew had to be something out there. I was to my mom the other day, I was there's someone who does it all, and she's like,
Yeah.
you're a hypochondriac. I don't know. I'm like, no, it's you, because your feelings, they're real. Like,
They're real, and you know when something's not right.
that's the
And
thing.
it's easy for people to say, oh, is it in your head?
Oh.
But you know, like, I'll give you a great example.
Yeah.
This is absurd. But I had like this really bad pain in my ovary area for like years, or like cervix. I don't even know where, just around
Like the pelvic.
that
area.
pelvic.
Yeah, me too. Are we twins? Like,
No,
what
and I
the hell's
had
going on?
such a bad pain, and I went to a gynecologist. He was like, "You're fine." I went to get an ultrasound. They were like, "You're fine," and it kept happening. And at one point, my gyno even insinuated, like, "Are you sure you're not imagining it?" And nothing pissed me off more because I'm like, I freaking know that my body is in pain, and don't fuck with me.
Yeah, like don't tell
Don't
me.
insinuate I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And my uncle is a sports medicine doctor. And I was just telling him one day, and he was like, come into my office tomorrow. And I went into his office, and he did some stretching exercises on me. And he's like, your whole hip rotation is off. And I was like, what? And then he did an MRI, and my hip was off. It was my hip the entire time that was causing pain in the ligaments in my pelvis, like straining.
Oh my god, maybe that's
And
what
no
I
one
have.
freaking believed me. And like for literally 2 years, people, even my parents were like, are you sure? And I was like, I'm telling you, I am in physical pain. Like, this isn't in my head.
Yeah.
So,
No, I believe you because I'm going through the same thing, and I've been going through the same thing. That's so crazy that they don't.
all
you
this
feel
to
like no one
say,
believes you,
like
yeah.
sometimes you just need to like look at things from a different angle. And maybe something isn't wrong with you, not like 9 out of 10 times, and you are being a worrywart, but you know intuitively when something in your body doesn't feel right, and you have to listen to those things, and you keep pushing until you find an answer because, you know, if you want an answer, some people rather not know.
But it's worth it. Your life is worth it. I'm
It's
happy
worth
that you
it.
said that. Like that is
So,
such a good example.
I sound like a kook, but honestly,
No,
it's just because I've been through so many like weird things that I don't know. I'm just like, I'm one of those people now that I just talk about everything so people just know what's out there.
Yeah, no, it's helpful for them to learn and like be less alone. No, I love that, and I feel the same way. I've been going through the same similar symptoms that you just said, like with the pelvic area. They can't find out. I went to a gyno, urologist, like God knows how many of them, and they're like nothing's wrong. Or recently, the urologist was like something's wrong with the pelvic bone or something. Like it was like a muscle.
Yeah, you never know.
You
It's
just-
so
the hip. Now that
weird.
you're saying the hip, now I'm like maybe it's the hip. Now I gotta get an MRI on the hip. But you know,
These medical bills
Yeah.
will drive you through the roof.
talking about being single too because of these medical
Yeah.
issues. Dating. So tell us about dating, like your dating situation, and like, can you give us tips on like how to date in New York City?
I would love to if I knew how. No, I haven't even tried to date in actually a year because I went through such a hard time. And now I am feeling like so positive and working on myself and feeling really good. And I'll say, what month are we in? November?
Mm-hmm.
By the new year, I'll be going on like 3 dates a week. So then we'll talk.
Ooh, that's good.
Well, because I'm gonna rev it up.
You're not on apps right now, or
I'm on them. I don't look at them.
yeah,
like,
you're not.
My profile's there in case anyone wants to find me, but other than that, I'm not really actively looking. I'm open to meeting someone off an app in the meantime, but I'll be more open to looking a little bit more in the new year. I'm still just, right now I'm on this whole like elimination diet, and I'm trying not to drink a lot, so
Yeah.
I'm just focusing on me, really.
I love that, and I think you have to be in a good mental state,
Yeah,
like, and space to date, and I feel like every time we're not, you end up dating the wrong person anyway, so.
totally.
And I love that you're like, I gotta take time for myself. I was self-aware. I knew I went through a lot. Now I'm like back to me.
Yeah,
And that's when you're really find somebody.
yes.
And you're also very young.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It feels that way probably because I'm younger than you, but
Yeah,
you
you're
know
much
me.
younger than me.
But you know me when you were in my shoes.
Yeah,
I'm sure you feel like
of
you're
course.
like it's like with every year. Like I'm turning 29 in January, so I'm not really young anymore. I'm getting into my 30s.
older. Yeah. And so like you, and yeah, and you're right. Like it's not getting any easier. So.
No, which is like, you know what? I've always had this like confidence that I will marry someone, I will meet my person, I'll have kids, I'll have like I don't doubt that.
Right.
And that's why I think I've always been okay being single because I really don't doubt it. And me trying to date someone during this time of my life where I was like starting a new business and going through all of these life changes, I don't think I would have been a good version of myself.
Yeah.
And I like needed to. I'm the kind of person, and I learned this in life, like while I was such a bad student in high school and so on. I kind of learned things the hard way.
Me too. Yeah.
And I learned things for myself. And you can tell me what not to do, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I'll fail, and then I'll pick myself back up. And I feel like finally I'm hitting this stride where I'm like getting my confidence back. I'm working really hard. Things are clicking a little more. I have this beautiful new apartment.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready.
Right. It's that's the thing. You have to get ready and like have these steps, and you have to fall and then get back up. And then when you have that beautiful apartment, which it's really beautiful.
Thank you.
It's like when you have that place, you know, okay, now I'm on the way to making it. I'm on the way to being like a responsible adult.
Yeah.
It's a different ballgame. So yeah, and then that's when I would date someone. I'm in a dating phase like that too. I don't want to date anyone. I'm like, I just think it's exhausting in New York City with all these options, with all these dating apps,
Yeah.
and then you end up going on a date. I think we spoke about this briefly a while ago. Like we go on a date with them, and it's like they ghost you, or they just don't want to talk to you, or whatever. But
I think when I start dating again, I'm gonna be savage.
yeah,
Like I think I say this, watch, I'm gonna go on one date and get my heart broken and ends up sobbing. But I think what I'm gonna try to do is like line up a few dates so I don't feel that connected to any of them.
Yes.
So I don't have this like desperation in me. Like also what I'm gonna do is just go into dates and be unapologetically myself. And I feel like sometimes I try really hard to censor myself because I want them to think that I'm the kind of girl you could take home to mom, and I'm super respectable, and I'm smart, and I have my shit together. And I think I'm just gonna go into dates and just be like, yeah, I don't know, like I don't really know what I'm doing. Yeah.
but like
You know what? Just
you're
be
right.
me.
You're right.
Get
be
you
you.
drunk, laugh
Yeah.
too much. Sometimes I go into dates like Mrs. Prim and Proper.
Yeah.
And like I told my dad this, and he's like, no one wants to date a boring person.
Right.
And like I'm not boring, but
Not
I'm
at
boring
all.
on dates.
Yeah, because you want to make a good impression, and you
Yes.
want. I'm the worst on first dates. I'm like, I'm so prim and proper. I think they get so scared when they really get to know me. They're like, holy shit,
This bitch is crazy.
Jekyll and Hyde. Like, I thought you were this like nice, really polite girl. Like, bitch, no, I'm crazy.
No, people think that I like by the first date want marriage because I like won't sleep with them. I won't even like go like I won't invite them back to my
You won't
apartment.
kiss.
I'll kiss, but like then I draw the line.
Yeah.
And I think they think like, wow, she must really want to settle down, which like I do, but I give off such a vibe. But it's really just because I'm trying to like set the boundary that you respect me and I'm not a doormat.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
So there's like a fine line. So now I'm just gonna be the doormat. No,
That's what I'm. Yeah, I'm like thinking. I think I need to be the doormat because it's been a long time.
So now I'm just gonna be like, no, I don't want you to come up. But I don't like instead of trying to be like, no.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, I don't take strangers up. I don't know you. Like just literally be myself
But
and
that's-
like not give a fuck.
But that's how you're gonna get somebody.
Could I curse?
Yeah, of
I've
course.
been just
Yeah.
dropping F
No,
bombs.
yeah, I'm not editing it because you're allowed to curse on the podcast. Thank God for podcasting, because if it was a radio station, it'd be like,
Yeah, get off.
yeah.
Oh no, I have my podcast rated R, so people could just say
Yeah,
whatever
rated
they want.
R. Yeah, rated R. What are so restaurants in the city? Talking about dating because I'm such a foodie. I don't know about you. What is your favorite restaurant to go out now in the city to eat?
If you want like a night out, there's always like the classic can't go wrong with Catch. Just like so good vibe, great music, awesome cocktails. Get the spicy tuna over crispy rice. Like such a classic. And then if you want just like really good Italian food, obviously Bar Pitti is like so good. They don't take reservations, but it's so worth it. Like their pasta's out of control.
I love it.
Where else do I love? I love the occasional like fancy dinner at Tao.
Yeah.
Just because again, girls' night, you have to get the Chilean sea bass skewers. They're like butter, they melt in your mouth. Where else do I go? I don't know. I've been cooking so much because
I know. I love. I mean,
Of this,
I get
like, I
so
can't eat
hungry
anything.
watching your Instagram.
yeah, I like
It's
literally
so good.
could only eat grass. So I
And soup.
have been cooking, and cauliflower rice.
I love that. How is
so I
that,
cook
by
a
the
lot.
way? Cauliflower rice. Is it good?
Honestly, if you cook it like me, it's bomb.
It's bomb.
a little garlic, a little olive oil, salt, pepper, some truffle seasoning.
You need to
No,
do that.
you actually feel like you're eating rice.
No, I literally cried the other night. I looked at your Instagram and like I wiped my tears. I'm
Oh
like,
my god.
this looks really good. It's like you're very bubbly and fun.
Oh,
like
thank
it's
you.
just your Instagram's like a good happy place.
Thank you.
Okay, a couple more questions. Your podcast. I love your podcast.
Thank you.
How do you get the guests? What are your favorite celebrity guests that you've interviewed? Because you've interviewed a bunch of reality stars, a bunch of influencers, a bunch of
I slide into their DMs. That's how I get people on, honestly.
I love that.
There's a difference between my favorite episodes and then my favorite biggest guests. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So my biggest guests have been Spencer Pratt, Sheena Shea from Vanderpump Rules, Margaret Josephs from The Real Housewives of New Jersey, everyone from The Bachelor, Derek Peth, it's Peth, not Peth, by the way. Kayla Quinn, Olivia Caridi. I've had on so many people from that franchise. I'm trying to think who else. Basically the entire cast of Summer House on Bravo. I've had on a bunch of influencers. So those have been like some of my bigger guests. In terms of my favorite episodes, they're honestly ones like this where I just like shoot the shit with my girlfriends.
Yeah.
Because I
Just
feel like
real.
my audience gets to know me versus me just like interviewing someone.
Yeah.
And they're just real.
I know, I love that about you too, because I feel like there's so many things to get to know about you, and like, because we only see you for 30 seconds on Instagram, or we only hear you for an hour on the podcast, so we want to know more about you, and that's why it's like I learned so much more about you today, you know, like you are just a down to earth
Thank you.
girl that is like, who likes nice things and who's been through life and shit in life, but knows how to get yourself out of the situation and be an independent boss woman, and that's what it's all about.
Thank you.
You know?
I mean, yeah, I think there's something to be said, like, I was raised well, but I also feel like I have like a realistic view of the world in some senses. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's certain things that I'm like tone deaf to because I've never like been open to them, but I try to pride myself on like wanting to know more about people, wanting to be inquisitive. I'm like, consider myself very empathetic, so I love hearing other people's stories, and just like, I just don't want to be the person that has like turns a blind eye. So I try to be like in tune with what people are saying and the people around me and what they're feeling, while also being upfront. Like the other day I asked my followers, do you want to see what I'm asking for Christmas?
Yeah.
And as I was writing my blog post, I felt like I had to almost defend what I was asking for, to be like, by the way, I'm not getting all these things, and also like, I'm blessed that I'm even able to ask for things for Christmas.
Right.
And like sometimes I'm like, what is that fine line between sharing what I share, but then also not being tone deaf to people that don't get more than $50 worth of stuff for Christmas? So I try to be super sensitive, but then the other part of me is like, look at these other influencers out here strutting around their Chanel bags and their Range Rovers. So I'm like, why do I care so much?
Yeah, like you shouldn't have to feel bad for your
but
success.
I just, it's not even like my success, it's just like being aware of like not rubbing people the wrong way.
Yeah, you're very good at that. Like you're very in tune with people's feelings. Like even when we first met, like you were very like, are you okay? Like, is everything cool? Like you could tell that you're very empathetic, and I think you have to be like a successful host or a successful entertainer or just a successful person in life. Like I feel like I'm the same way. I want to evolve. I want to be a better person. So like that's.
You have to take the Enneagram test. Have you taken
What
it?
is that? No.
It's like a personality test, and it's very
Oh my
spot
God,
on.
really?
And it teaches you a lot about your personality and how to interact with people. And then there's another one, the Enneagram, and then there's like the love languages one you could take.
Yeah,
like, there's so many.
I want to do that one.
It's cool.
Do you ever get hate at all? Like comments, like negative comments, and if you do, how do you deal with it? Or how should one deal with it if they're getting it out there?
I get a lot of like random comments on my lips from like strangers. Like if my picture gets on the Explore page, random men will be like, "What's up with her lips?" And I'm like, "Bitch, they're real.
They're so beautiful."
But also like I've never had lip injections. I don't even do anything to them.
Really?
No.
That's amazing.
I've never done like plastic surgery or anything.
Oh my God, that's great.
But my point is like, that's actually my face. So
Right.
like I don't know what you want me to say.
Like it's like a form of like, it's insulting. Like, why are you?
Well, it's like I think people when they comment, it's like usually random men from like who knows where. I think they're usually saying it because they think I've had lip injections. Like they think I'm like Kylie Jenner or something. But like they're making fun of it. But I'm like, no, you don't get it. That's actually my face.
Right.
So sometimes I'll just comment back and be like, they're real, LOL. And then I think I have this one specific troll because someone keeps commenting every few months on my selfies that I look like Caitlyn Jenner.
Are they
From a different like unknown account, and then I'll like either comment back or delete it, and then like a few months later it will surface again.
Oh my god,
I've gotten like 4 or 5 comments saying that I look like Caitlyn Jenner.
No, that's crazy. That's not true.
I'm like, thank you so much. She is beautiful.
She is beautiful, but like you don't look like Caitlyn
But
Jenner.
like, I text my friend Jill on the 5th time, and I was like, you need to just tell me, do I really look like Caitlyn Jenner? Like,
No,
I'm like,
you look
I just need to know.
You look like Ashley Graham, who's very
really?
beautiful.
I love that. Thank you.
And also someone else, but I can't put my finger on it. But like
I always get Hispanic women.
Yeah, like
Eva Mendes, I guess.
Eva Mendes.
Yeah.
Eva Mendes. That's what it is. Eva Mendes. I know because of the smile and the beauty mark.
Yeah,
I've
literally. I've gotten that one since I was like 16.
Yes, Eva Mendes 100%, which I would love to look like Eva Mendes.
Oh my god, thank you. I never heard Ashley Graham, but like I
Ashley Graham's also
I
gorgeous.
welcome it.
Yeah, she's amazing. Any fashion tips for us ladies on the go in the city if we are on a budget?
So I'm going to be talking more about how to dress for your body on my Instagram. So if you guys want to follow me there,
Perfect.
It's at Publyssity, Publyssity. I will be talking about this more because I do feel like I'm good at finding fashionable looking things on a budget, and sometimes I feel like I don't always post about them. So I've really been trying to like rev up that more and talk more about not being a size 2 and like dressing for a womanly body. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, I'm always linking clothes. I try to link things that are usually under like $150, $100 clothing wise. You have to understand sometimes I do get gifted things and they are more expensive, but the things that I'm usually buying like aren't super expensive. So I try to do a mix between high and low, like a $40 hat with really a cheap shirt and then like nice jeans. So I try to do a mix, and a lot of my designer bags that you see are actually bought vintage. So I buy a lot of bags on The Real.
Nice.
Another great store that's uptown on 81st Street, it's called Designer Revival.
Oh yeah, I heard of it.
Yeah, and they have a lot of like used and consigns like Fendi bags, Gucci bags, all for under $500. So if you want to splurge and treat yourself for a nice bag, you can get one under $500 instead of spending $2,500 in a store.
Oh, that's amazing.
So a lot, like I have a little Fendi bag that I shot today that I think I bought for under $100. I have a small Prada bag that's pink that I spent like $50 on. Like if you search, go on The Real, search prices from low to high. So you're looking at the lowest stuff first, and then comb through it. You will find a bag for under $200 that's designer that you like.
I love it. You're like a really like a knowledgeable sponge of like a sponge of knowledge. I will say.
I've been
You
doing it.
literally are an expert in everything. You're a lifestyle expert.
Thank you. Oh my
You're
god.
an effing lifestyle expert.
This
Because
is-
I come to your Instagram for everything. I'm like home decor, even though I don't have a home, but my future home, Alyssa Amoroso.
This is why I needed
Everything.
to be an expert on TV.
You do. You should be
I
on
know.
Amazon. You know how they have the Amazon hosts?
I've worked
like,
with them, yeah.
you know, or like the Today Show.
Mhm.
Like you would be an amazing lifestyle expert on the Today Show. The Today Show, if you're listening, because I know you producers watch my stuff, you
Hire
should
me.
hire her as a lifestyle expert, and you should hire me too sometimes as like a pop culture expert. Where can everybody follow you?
Yes, so sorry that I feel like I word vomited on everyone about everything I love.
No, we love you.
That's like what my social media is.
Yeah.
So if you guys are interested in that and interested in my podcast, you can find me on Instagram. It's at Publyssity. It's a play on words. So it's like publicist with my nickname Liz. So it's Publyssity. And then my podcast is the Publyssity Podcast. It is the same spelling. And if you're into merch and if you love spilling the tea, I have a new merch line dropping very, very soon. Right now, I sell sweatshirts, like towels, bathing suits, literally everything, t-shirts, but I have a Spill the Tea mug coming out, a Spill the Tea Sis phone case coming out,
I'm gonna have
and a whole bunch of other things. So if you guys want to check that out, that's shoppublyssity.com, and you can just find all of the links to all of these things through Instagram.
I love it. Thank you so much, Alyssa, for being here. You're the best.
Thanks for having me.
And you'll be on next time. And tune in to Chanel in the City.